Hey guys, welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we are going to be blowing through some awesome content today and working our way towards a nice EMC farm. So I hope you guys are ready. So today there is a lot to get done on my bucket list. I want to upgrade this bad boy and potentially change the way that we generate EMC, because we're going to be generating a lot more fairly soon. I might just turn this and set this to automation while we focus on another area, and that is going to the Nether, in which some things are going to start changing. First of all, though, before we go to the Nether, we're going to need to do one thing. The Swift Wolf Rending Gale, we can do a couple things with. It is going to consume more EMC, but if we hold shift and right click with it, it turns this into a repulsion type of thing. And you can still fly with it, but you can see it actually repels mobs. And I believe it also repels projectiles. So we're going to kind of test this when we're in the Nether, and we're going to see if with this in its protection ring, or its whatever you want to call this, while this is enabled, we're going to see if it'll actually prevent blazes from shooting us and see how that works. But of course, keep in mind that it does use EMC. So basically, it'll use. Let's actually enable it, and you can kind of see. It'll just start to remove that stored EMC, and then once it gets to 0, it'll just consume 64 more. So, I mean, it consumes about 1 EMC every second or so, maybe 2 a second. So, that is one thing that we are going to do. There's also another ring I'm going to make, but first I'm going to go ahead and let's talk about our armor. We can go ahead and get rid of our goggles of revealing for right now, throw those in our Thaumcraft chest, and we're going to go ahead and actually make ourselves the Tinker's Armory. Now, I went ahead went with aluminum, because aluminum should be the cheapest block you can make your forges out of. Instead of using iron, you can use this. And we'll just place this over here, right? And it should connect to the multi-block. It does kind of throw things off, but it does definitely connect here. We can even place it over here if we want. Actually, it would probably work best, now that I look at it, it'd probably go pretty nice like so. And then we have, of course, a crafting table right over there. Not like we're gonna need it. But anyways, we need to make some armor pieces. The best way to kind of judge what armor you're gonna want is to probably make a Tinker's Construct. Let's see. Tinker's Construct, the book, Materials in You. So it's just a book and this pattern, and the book is super easy to make in this pack. Of course, some string and some paper. So make the Materials in You, and you're gonna go over some of the items. And that's what I'm going to be working on. So I'm going to figure out what my type of armor is, and then that way you guys can see it. So because we're going to be heading into the Nether, I figured I might as well go ahead and make myself a portal charm. I don't know if this actually wants to replace my gluttony charm. I don't know if I keep it in my inventory, if it will work as well. I think it will, but this is going to make it so we can just travel directly through the portal immediately, as if we were in creative mode. But you can see right here, I have my armor done. This did take a little bit of time because I had to get some of the magmas, I had to get some of the saplings made up. And to do this, you're going to need to make the green slimy dirt. And you can, of course, find the recipe in JEI. It's literally the same, like, general green slimy dirt recipe. And then you throw that inside the mechanical drying basin. Of course, I made some night slime. Steel has been being produced over here for quite a while. So we have a couple of stacks of it. I think I have 3 stacks at this point of steel ingots, or 2 stacks of it. And I use steel for our plates, I use night slime for our trim, and then I used the magma slime, which I took a little bit of time as well because I had to, of course, make some more netherrack. But this right here is actually pretty nice. The auto forge, what it does is if this thing is on fire, it will repair the armor. And then, of course, night slime gives us a little health boost, and steel is probably one of the best for like a reinforcement type of modifier. So let's go ahead and make ourselves some armor. Of course, each one of these are going to get this piece, and it's a pretty cool looking armor, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll move on to our next piece. There we go. I mean, it's not bad looking at all, not gonna lie. It's pretty cool. And then finally our boots. And it almost looks like my channel theme. Even though this is some really sick armor. I'm not gonna lie. But I do want to go ahead and apply diamond to this as a modifier right off the bat. And this will make it look even cooler. So we'll apply some diamond. This will give it even more toughness. Oh, I already applied it to that. There we go. So, here is our armor. Look how cool that is. So yeah, we are definitely going to be rocking this. Now, the best way to test this is, of course, by hitting an Enderman. 1 heart. He hit us for 1 heart. And I'm pretty sure the Swift Wolf Rending Gale is doing some kind of thing that if they hit us, it causes damage to them. I assume that, or it's the cactus from the spiky on my sword. While it's in my hand, it gives us that damaging effect that ends up hurting the Enderman. It might actually be coming from the sword, now that I think about it, because it does have spiky on it. If it's in our hand, it's definitely hurting them. So, with that done, I think it's about time for us to head to the Nether. But there is something interesting that we need to note, that to get there, you do need a flint and steel. You will need a piece of steel ingot for this, because that's how flint and steel is made. Look at that. You cannot use iron. But we should be able to get there. So, obsidian is going to be our fun part for getting this done. I'm going to just go ahead and make it back here. It will not stay back here, but this will be just how we get here temporarily. I'm just going to make a normal 3 or 5x5 version. Nice and round, nice and large. Perfect. We'll light this. Now, as soon as I walk into here, we're going to take us there. But there's one more thing that I want to make before we head there. Also, I forgot to make, I made the volcanic amulet. It was one of the things on the list. Well, they mentioned the water one, but you also need to make the other one. It does take a little bit of time to get enough of the dark matter for this. So that's just something to keep in mind. I want to make the Archangel Smite. This is going to require 2 dark matter and, of course, our amulet and some iron. So, iron. We're going to need 8 of those. What else is there? Some bows. So, this right here is a tinker's bow that we're going to have to make. And it's just regular wood and string. So, to make this, of course, you're going to need, I believe, just the bow pieces that end up making a bow. This right here. So, you need your 2 bow limbs and a string. So, to make that, I believe that's the bow limb pattern. And, of course, our string. But I think you can use normal string inside the thing. I don't think you have to use special string. Maybe you do. We'll find out. So to do that, it's literally just some wood in a crafting grid. So, we'll make some of that. Let's see, what was it? Bow limbs? So 1, 2... Because we need to make 4 of these. Pretty much when you need to use a normal tool, it's going to end up being a tinker's tool that you're going to end up making it with. So regular string, and I think that actually makes your normal bow. We split that up and we put string in here. Okay, it is going to require actual string pattern. And we should just be able to put string in here. And there we go. So that should work. Go back to our bow. And you're going to notice some things are going to be like that. And of course we have a bow. Don't want to use it just yet because this thing is definitely what we're wanting to make. Let's go ahead and make that. It's going to consume and use our amulet. The rest is just feathers. This thing is super powerful, by the way. So it's kind of crazy for me to think of how powerful this thing actually is. Let's go ahead and make this thing. I've made it before, and this thing can pretty much take on just about any boss we want to throw at it. That's not a joke. It's quite ridiculous. It targets mobs, right? Not only does it target mobs, if you hit G, it automatically triggers and fires arrows at an insane rate. And will target whatever's nearby. And yes, you can also hit G and have it auto fire, and then also use the shotgun mode. And then, of course, right click will shoot 1 at a time. Left click will shoot like a shotgun. It'll shoot like 10 at a time or whatever. And then if you hit G, it'll toggle auto fire. And yeah, it gets kind of ridiculous. Also, users can use this, but keep in mind, arrows do build up, and these are a special kind of arrow, so they will eventually lag you out FPS-wise, because these are technically entities in the world, and they're homing arrows. So, now that we have that, we almost have everything. We have our volcanic amulet. I don't really want that on me right now, so I'm gonna make sure to throw that in here. Everything else we pretty much just don't need. Flint steel just in case. Maybe I'll bring a wand and some cobblestone, just to build up a platform for us. And any more I can just dump off if I don't need it anymore. All right, let's hop through the portal, and this should be super quick. Of course, it's got to load the dimension, and it should be pretty fast for the most part. Look at that. Okay. So we do have an area here, and apparently we are in this person's base, so not exactly the portal that I want to be coming through. So there's only one way to really fix this, and that is to go to my base, find my coordinates, and then make sure to make a portal where my coordinates are at. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That way we have our own little spot. So I got the portals all linked, and we are now ready to go. So this portal is actually mine now, which leads us in our nice little area. Now, I do need to find a fortress, and I do know fortresses are here. Just going to take some time to find them. I do need to, however, remember my coordinates, because there's not a mini-map here. So luckily I have my coordinates wrote down, so we should be able to find exactly where we're at when we need to come back home. And of course, it's kind of hard to miss this giant platform. So I'm going to go ahead and go looking for a fortress. Hopefully we find one that nobody has messed with. And yeah, I'll meet you there. So here we are at a lovely fortress. Now, do need to get rid of these guys. My goodness. But I did find a spawner, so this is exactly what I'm looking for, is to find this spawner. I do need to get rid of these guys a little bit. But yeah, the spawner. I need to actually break this. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to do, but I really need the block that drops from it, which is called a broken spawner. Also, we have the spawner shards and stuff, but the spawner shards are not going to be as important as having this guy. Also, being on fire like this just repairs our armor. So it's kind of funny to actually be on fire every now and then. And these are homing, by the way. I mean, that one shot with this takes them out instantly. It's like 10 arrows hitting them at once. So, I mean, you could just go at this for days if you really wanted to. These guys also, you can hit the wither skeleton. You still gotta be careful. You still can die. So don't think that you can't die, because it's definitely possible. But down here, should be able to grab some stuff that we need. I do need to go after some wither skeletons, because they do drop some things that I'm going to need. There's a couple things that, like, you may think that drop, but extra utilities is not in here, so you won't see some of the things you're used to, like the drops of evil and things like that. But you will see ash and other materials. Blaze rods is something good to get as well. As we could it's an easy way to just get around the normal way we were making blaze powder. But yeah, this guy right here is very important to me. So, what else? It was the wither ash, I think it was, that I needed. Man, we definitely need some potions. I think that'd be the best thing. I don't know if there's any, I mean, maybe there's a pendant or something that'll prevent us from taking a lot more damage, potentially. I like to get rid of this guy. Man, yeah, I mean, because we are seriously taking some fire damage. Ooh, boy. Okay, so now that this is done, let's go ahead and head back to the base, and we're going to do some other crafting. The main thing I wanted was this, because this is going to help us later on with our EMC. So I went ahead and switched to these smart outputs, and boy, are these way faster. So basically, these are going to replace your casting tables, And this just kind of makes it old school, where it removes that cooldown timer that normally happens on your casting table, and it just goes like pretty much instantly. There are upgrades, however. You could upgrade this and make it work as a casting basin. You just have to apply a casting basin upgrade. And there's also max output upgrades, which will allow this to output more at a time, which works quite well. Having two of them hooked up, I still have this currently set up for my drain. Later on, we can set this up where it automatically drains and maybe have a lever here that will turn off and on whenever we want to activate, let's say, each one. So, with that done, we are back from the Nether. And of course, we ended up getting ourselves some spawners. Now, what I want to do with this, so the ultimate goal of today's episode, is to turn these broken spawners into something special. And we're going to have to take these, and if we, let's say, add a draconic core to them, we can make a stabilized mob spawner. Now, at the moment, this will probably not work unless you have some kind of soul to put to this. But luckily, soul vials actually work on these, so we could capture a mob with a soul vial and throw it in here, and thus have a nice mob spawner. And what kind of mob would you want to use in here? Well, you have two types of heads that actually work really well. One, you have Enderman or Wither Skeleton, which is 46,000 EMC per skull. And with our Sword of Beheading, we should be able to generate quite a bit of EMC. So that's the plan, but I have to kind of do a few things. We have to get Draconium. So a dragon egg actually produces Draconium. If we take a look at how this is processed, if in any type of grinder, such as a crusher or a sag mill, a crusher probably would be the easiest one to get. We can get some Draconium dust. And that's actually not too difficult. Now, later on, we're going to be working with the miniaturization stuff. We're going to be doing that very soon. I don't think we have to do that today, as we should be able to handle the crusher. Let's go ahead and get some iron poured out. I think we have enough for the crusher. So, let's take a look at actual additions. And take a look at just the plain old crusher. It's just going to require this, which I believe we have from last time we messed around with a few things. So yeah, we definitely have an iron casing, and that's going to lead us into this, which is going to require some basic coils. And if I remember correctly, I thought we had, oh no, we had made a bunch of advanced coils. So back into the process of this, we should need our hammer, which I don't know if my hammer is actually in here. It doesn't really appear to be, unless I'm doing the YouTuber blind thing where it's completely blind to me. I was. Look at that. It's right there. This is the YouTuber blind fixer tool. The highlighter there. Okay. So we do have that. So just take some cheap aluminum, which is pretty nice. We'll go ahead and hammer this all out and make sure we turn this into wires. It's going to be very handy to have actual additions at our fingertips like this. And then we should be able to do this. Good old-fashioned crusher. I should have just added it to the list over here. Let's make some basic coils, very basic. Perfect. And then we can also make this. I love how that works, and it just goes back into our system here. Okay, so now with our crusher ready to go, place it right here. It's going to gain some power. We can throw that dragon egg in and get exactly what we need. So that way we can turn these over. Now, the miniaturization, something we kind of need to get into, I think, because the only way to get soul vials, if I remember correctly, requires fused quartz. And the only way to get fused quartz, I think, is with your default alloy smelter. And to go through the process of getting the alloy smelter is going to take a little bit of time, but I think we can handle that today. It should, hopefully it shouldn't take too long, because I think we can do it with our base alloy smelter, just like this. But to do that, we need a simple machine chassis, and this is not the most friendly thing in the world to make, as you need the miniaturization setup. So we're going to go over how to do this. It's actually, it's not as much EMC as you think it is. About 44 blocks of this is about 100,000 EMC. So, you know, going after some heads should be pretty easy. Now, making these are, a little bit of a crafting as well. I've already made my energetic alloy, though, so I should be quite well here. The energetic alloy is made basically inside here the same way you make energetic alloy. So here it is. And so, yeah, we get to go ahead and make the field projectors. And I'm going to actually set them up above my spawner. And we're going to go over what to do with those. So what we're taking part in and trying to work towards is actually going to be pretty complicated later on down the line. To be able to actually smelt draconium dust right here, there is a couple of things. We have to get into the combined crafting. It looks a little bit more complicated than it actually is, but to get into combined crafting, it's not too difficult. We do, however, need a lot of we need a lot of black iron, and black iron is going to take a little bit of time to do, as we need void crystal, which is not hard, but we also need an empower to set up. So I think we'll be setting up an empower by the end of today's episode as well to get started with that process. But let's go ahead and get started with this, making the simple machine. So this is actually not too bad. We need an infinity and some blocks of iron. So let's grab some iron, as we're going to need quite a bit of it. And let's go ahead and make blocks of it. There we go. And we're going to need 44 blocks. That's all we need. We don't need this many. Just 44. There we go. And we're going to need some iron bars. This one is a little bit more finicky. 64 is going to work because it's not actually 64 it needs, but that will do just fine. Okay. And we'll save the rest of the iron bars for later. If we need to make more of these, which we probably will later on. Oh, we also need a grain of infinity. 1 grain of infinity is all we need. 44, and then I'll convert all these back into iron. That way I can throw it back in my tablet. Awesome. So up top here, I went ahead and made the miniaturization field projectors. So these guys are pretty simple to make, and this is how you make compact machines. Now, if you notice, these guys need to set 2 blocks up off the ground. They also need to be facing in a certain direction, and if you right-click on them, say this field projector is not here, for example. Let's go ahead and remove this field projector. If this guy is not here, and this thing is not complete, you can right-click on this. It'll give you little arrows pointing where you need places. Just make sure this is going to go 2 blocks up off the ground. Up off the base. Of course, we are setting on half. We're setting on half the slab, so that should work. So if I place that there, this activates. Now, you can toggle the lights on and off, and this will turn it off in case you're doing something else here. So let's go ahead and build this. Shouldn't be too difficult, right? I say that. So yeah, shouldn't be too bad. We'll go ahead and get this thing built up. So once you have the cube fully complete, all you gotta do now is throw the grain of infinity on it. And thus, this happens. Such a cool animation. And there we go. We now have our simple machine chassis. All miniaturized and ready to go. Look at that bad boy. Now we are gonna need some stone and some cobblestone. Of course. And that is going to get us this bad boy. Go ahead and grab 2 of those. This also needs some gears. And last but not least, a bucket and some iron, which we did get rid of all of our iron just a minute ago. So, just like this, I think we have a bucket in there, and we have a simple alloy smelter. Perfect. Place that bad boy there. Make sure to get some coal in there to fuel this. And this thing's ready to go. Now, what should we start cooking in there, you might ask? And I'm going to say right off the bat, dark steel would be a good thing to jump into for this, to start producing dark steel. But it's not, because I believe dark steel is a little bit harder to make than you might think. But making these alloys, these iron alloy ingots, are going to be pretty good to do, because our next step is going to be getting the draconium dust up and running. Remember, we got to do this in the combiner, and to make the dark iron that we're going to need a lot of, we're going to have iron alloy ingots specifically these guys, in order to make this. And once we have a combiner, we can do it this way, but it does seem that this is the only way that's going to work. We're getting this. You can see right here, the combiners are going to require 4 pedestals, which we're already going to have. And yeah, we just kind of have to bust out some iron. This is going to take a little while. Our empower here as well. While we're making our iron, let's go ahead and get our empower set up. We should have everything for this. And let's get it done. So to get our empower up and running, let's go ahead and chisel some blocks. So right off the bat, we can go with chiseled quartz. And then we need just some regular quartz. And we throw both of these, if I can be quick enough, on there. Oh, not quick enough. This one, I should be able to throw directly on. There we go. And that should convert that as well. And we're going to need 15 apiece. That is going to be just enough to get us the exact amount for all of this stuff. So we should be able to now make 5 display stands. Perfect. We are, however, going to need a few of these cases. I'm going to need 2 of them specifically. And we are going to need a double battery. So we are going to need some iron. I believe it is just a double battery coming off of a single battery. Right? To get a double battery, you need a single battery. So we're going to need 10 iron for this. So not too bad. And yeah, we just convert this iron over. So 10 of this. Just like that. And yeah, we just throw this here. Bam. We're good to go. And yeah, we should have everything else for this, this single battery. So single battery, and then we go to double battery. Bam. Doesn't have to have power in it. And finally, to the empower. So we have pretty much everything. Now, I did go ahead and make lasers. These guys are, of course, part of Actual Editions as well. This is how we're going to transfer power. But you may be wondering, how exactly are we going to get significant power for this? Well, my friends, this is where my knowledge of Botania is probably going to help me. I do need my wand. And we are actually going to run over here real quick, because I think I need some of the Botania items. Like living rock. I'm pretty sure I need living rock for this. And what we're going to do is make a mana flux field right here. This thing is really powerful. Let's also get some iron. So we do need 1 piece of iron that we need to dunk in our mana pool. I think that might not be how we make mana steel. Uh-oh. Which could be an issue. This guy is literally getting hit with my attack. So, how do we make mana steel? Is that some kind of special recipe that I don't know about? Oh, it's got to be regular steel. Okay. Still, this is going to be perfect. Like, there's no big deal with this. I do have some steel. Awesome. So we throw this in here. Or, you know, I'm not Kobe, so I miss. Throw that in there. And you see the mana bursts. So the mana bursts are going to be important. Those are storing mana. We do have mana ready to go. We're also going to need to use some redstone with this. I hope we have enough. 3. Let's grab some more redstone. Here we go. We got this guy after us. Bam, that was quick. Right, and we need to go ahead and figure this out right here. Perfect. So, now we have a mana flux field. What we're going to do with mana flux field? Well, we're going to use this bad boy to generate some power. I think right here for right now is going to be a decent spot to hook up our system. Let's go ahead and remove this. Of course, I am going to expand and make a nicer platform for this, but for right now, this should work. We're going to go 2 blocks off and place a stand on each side. Perfect. And down below is where we're going to hook our power. So I do need to clear this out a little bit. And, you know, Mr. Sir, Zombie Sir, you're really getting in my way. So yeah, the only thing that doesn't need power is the middle one, the empower itself. But these bottom ones will get power. And I'm going to show you how we're gonna power this. Shouldn't be too hard to understand. All right, so now that these are ready to go, let's take our mana flux field. Let's go ahead and build up a few blocks from here. I think this many is fine. We'll place our flux field here. All right. So what we need to do now is we need to sort of force our mana spreaders into this. So we just link them into this. And you can see we are now converting mana into power. And each mana burst you see is about the equivalent to 1600 RF per mana burst. All right, so after that is all done, we are going to need a laser wrench and some energy lasers. And we should just be able to place a laser here. I'm going to come down, place a laser on the bottom of each one of these, and then we're going to link them. And I'm going to show you the order to link them. So first of all, link this one to this one, and I'm just right-clicking. Then link this one to this one to this one, and this one to this one. That should have everything linked, and now these guys are probably going to need some coal. Right now, I believe they are producing... They're not producing anything because there's no coal stored in here. So we will need to make sure we're feeding them to keep this powered. So consider this like a nice mana generator. That's kind of exactly what this thing is. So we'll throw 2 stacks of coal in there. 2 stacks of coal in there. Awesome. And then we can cover this back up, you know, as we go. The lasers, they don't have to, they can be blocked. You can see they go through blocks. So, now that that's done, and these guys are getting a little bit of power, they're going to continue to fill up, we can actually start our automation process for them. So, our automation setup is pretty much ready to go. If we take a look at our dark iron again, I believe it, not tar, dark. Is it dark iron? Different kind of dark iron. I think it, was it black? Iron? Anyways. From Extended Crafting, it's the block of black iron, this stuff right here. So, void crystal is easy to get. Let's go ahead and take some coal. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks of it. We're going to do a stack at a time. You just throw it down here. That'll get you a void crystal, and I believe, yeah, it literally, we can just throw all of these down here, and it's going to do just fine. So I'm going to do a stack apiece, even though we're going to need more than that. I'm going to come over here, grab my stack of alloy, because we're going to need that for sure. Make sure to highlight this stuff. And you can see the Empower, perfect, iron, and we're just going to let this thing settle. Now, you can just use hoppers for this, and I have a hopper pulling out. So we can just place our void crystals in here. This actually works really well. And last but not least, we place our iron. And it's just going to use power, right? It's going to be utilizing this power here. And that's going to start our black iron production. Right. Not too difficult at all. So, I think next episode, we are going to be able to get ourselves an EMC generator up and running that is going to be phenomenal. And it's going to make our future endeavors a lot easier. We're also going to get into some extended crafting. I think very soon... We're also going to extend our base a little bit because our base is getting a little cramped here. And I think we should definitely add some nice platforms along the sides and make this thing a little bit bigger. For sure. But right now, this is working fantastic. I love our generator. By the way, we have a full mana pool, just so you know. Over here is going to be another thing that we need to upgrade eventually as well. I've just been, at this point, removing our creosote because we really don't need too much of it. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know this series we're going a bit faster, which is absolutely fine for me since I am on a server. This is absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying this, guys. So, I hope to see you in the next episode. Guys, if you haven't clicked that subscribe button, I recommend doing so, and also clicking the like button. I'd really appreciate it. See you in the next one. As always, thanks for watching.